Hello everyone, welcome back to Flying Pig United. Sorry for the bit of delay, but we are going to be doing a preview for the Watford game. Today got two great guests of Gwolf and Usman. How are you, Gwolf?
I'm very well, thank you.
Great, and how
How
are
are
you,
you?
Usman? I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Usman?
Yeah, I'm well, and congratulations on your interview earlier as well. You absolutely smashed it. So well done on that as well. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you. It was an absolute brilliant interview. Honestly, I still feel absolutely amazed by the interview, to be honest. It was absolutely cracking, honestly. But I do want to shout someone out who is in the chat. Niall Kane, become a YouTube member, Bacon Brigade. Well done there, Niall. Congratulations on coming a brand new member on Flying Pig United. So let's get started with this preview. I thought we'll discuss a bit about the Atletico Madrid game. Let's go with you first, Usman. What did you think of that Atletico Madrid game?
I mean, my audio's messed up again, but I can hear you just about. But yeah, look. First things first. The result was fantastic. Away from home, getting that goal at the end of the game was very integral. It didn't look like it was going to come, but nevertheless, regarding the performance as a whole, extremely disappointed. With a lot of individuals within that team. Pogba, Bruno, in particular, them two players. I expect players of that caliber to really step up. This is where you got to stand up and be counted. It's all well and good doing against Brighton and those other teams in the Premier League, with all due respect to them teams. But on the biggest stage, the Champions League, away from home, this is where you are going to get respect from the fans, and both of them were absolutely shocking, alongside practically every other player. And yeah, for me, it was very disappointing in terms of the performance. But at the end of the day, like I said, we got the result that we needed, and hopefully the performance improves come Old Trafford.
Yeah, I definitely completely agree with that, to be honest. Especially the first half, it was absolutely shocking. Too much sideward passing, too much backward passing, and that is not what we want to see. If we wanting to see that backward sideward passing, we might as well have kept all the other managers from before. So it just felt like we just came back to how we used to play. It just felt like once that goal came in for Atletico, it just felt like we wasn't bothering. We didn't really try. As well as Bruno and Pogba, I would even argue that Varane had one of his worst games as a Manchester United player in that first half. I felt like he was another player who was shocking, and it made me feel like he made Harry Maguire look decent next to him. And I never thought I would save the day, to be honest. But for you, Gwolf, how did you find the game?
Well, first half, as you said, backwards passing, sideways passing, it was just absolutely piss poor. Like, that's not Man United at all. We shouldn't be doing that. And it just looked like they were playing for the draw from the off. But then when Rangnick, he made his subs, Matic came on, Wan-Bissaka and Tellez literally improved us, I thought, on that left-hand side. Proper bombing it down, making the runs as well. Like, what's it called? Going past the midfielder, so then the midfielder can cross it, so he can cross it in.
Yeah.
So, he improved us. And then when Magnet brought on Alanga, well, tell you the truth, boy, take a bow, because he got us that goal with his first touch. And to me, it seemed like that's when he turned himself into a man. Literally, he stood up and to be counted. So I'm ecstatic for Alanga. Hopefully, he can more things to come from him, I think.
I was a little bit worried about Alanga starting for the game because he's only came through to the side since Ralph came in charge. He's had more starting 11 games, and knowing that he has started against like the games such as Brentford, he hasn't really had that much of a big test. So I was a little bit worried to think, right, he's only played one Champions League, which was Young Boys, and Young Boys and Atletico Madrid are two different levels in reality. So I was a little bit worried, knowing it was knockout as well, but him coming on as that substitute has really shown to me Alanga is a Manchester United player. He deserves that starting 11 place. I think Alanga was absolutely brilliant. And when you do look at that Alanga goal, it was very poor defending and very poor goalkeeping from Atletico. In reality, looking at that, they should have been doing a lot better at Atletico to actually try and save that ball, but they didn't. So we've got that 1-1 draw, so we can only hope for the best at Old Trafford. People, as we say, the fans are always the 12th man for us. So let's hope when we come to Old Trafford, it will be much better. But we've still got a couple of tests along the way. But we've got the Watford game now, so it's not too bad. But looking at some players at the moment, I do look at it to think Ronaldo, he didn't even have a shot on target for this Atletico Madrid game. And Pogba, just as Usman touched on, he was pretty poor. And we all know what's been going on with Maguire. I'll go to you for you, Gwolf. How do you feel like Pogba is? Do you think he's more of a hit and miss player? Do you think that he can do a good game against Watford?
I think he will. He's his performances have been hit and miss, but since he's come back from injury, he's just been a hell of a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to criticize him just yet because he's still coming back. He's still coming back from a long injury.
Mm-hmm.
So, he can have a poor game against Atletico Madrid because of all the players were poor against Atletico Madrid. So hopefully this is where he'll bounce back and have a brilliant performance. If he doesn't, then but to tell you the truth, he's fighting for either for a contract at Old Trafford or somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to prove himself how good he is now.
Mm-hmm. He has so far shown for me, Paul Pogba, that he is a decent player. And when he is at his best, we know that he is one of the best players in that squad, and he can make that impact. That Bruno and Pogba link up, I absolutely love. Gonna go for you, Usman, regarding Maguire. Do you think he is a liability? Not heard much from you about Maguire, because I haven't spoke to you properly about that. But do you think he could even have a good game for the Watford game?
Yeah, I mean, look, the game itself, is Bruno and Maguire's first time ever playing in a knockout game. One's our captain, one is our vice captain. I mean, if that doesn't say everything you need to know in terms of where the Manchester United Football Club is, I don't know what will. In terms of Maguire on an individual level, you did kind of allude to the fact that Varane was worse than him. I thought Varane had a very poor period within that first half where he kind of lost his head. I don't really know what happened to him. He lost the ball on a couple of occasions, and then when I gave away a stupid free kick. But in general, I just feel safer with Varane at the back. And I think even in the second half, he started to show a bit of his quality. He started to make a bit more tackles. In terms of Maguire, I just don't think he's at the level, to be quite honest with you. You saw with the Felix goal. I know obviously Gwolf's not going to agree, but you saw with the Felix goal, I mean, look, it was an absolute quality cross and header. Don't make no mistake about it. And sometimes you got to put your hand up and say, "No, what, fair play, great goal." But at the same time, we're in the Champions League now. We're not in the Premier League. We're not playing against the lesser teams. You have to be switched on at all times. And it's the first 10 minutes in the game away from home in his first Champions League knockout game. And he's completely fallen asleep. At the end of the day, Felix is a threat. He's the only real threat in the box because nobody else was there. And he's got a free run on him. It's not acceptable. At the end of the day, I'll be saying that for any player, Varane, Shaw, whoever it may be. If we're gonna compete with the big boys, we gotta cut out these silly mistakes. And for me, the way Felix has just run basically through onto the header, with that unopposed by our main £80 million centre back, it's unacceptable. In the first 10 minutes of the game, I can understand if it was the last 10 minutes of the game, tired legs, etc. But first 10 minutes, that's when you got to be the most focused. And for me, he's shown that he's a liability. And we know that anyways. A lot of the goals we conceded in the last 5-6 games have directly come from a Maguire mistake. So, yeah, what can you do? I mean, Lindelof and Varane should be starting for me, but obviously I'm not the manager. So
I totally agree with that. But the only thing is also I would blame Fred as well for Like
Yeah, but
the way
Fred
that he was.
slipped, though, innit? What can you do if you slip? You
Yeah,
slip.
but
Don't
if
you?
he just waited just a split second beforehand, when the player came forward with the ball, that's when Fred could have made the tackle. But with Maguire, I do agree with you. He should have been a lot closer to Felix.
Yeah, I definitely completely agree with that. And when I was looking
Maguire's
at that
piss
goal,
poor.
when I looked at that goal, no one was marking the players, and this is what basic football is about. You've got 11 players on Manchester United. Atletico Madrid has got 11 players, so each Manchester United player should be marking each Atletico Madrid player, especially when they get a corner, they get a set piece, blah blah blah. They should be marking these players. They should be. But they wasn't doing that. They allowed, just as Usman said, a lot of space to allow them to go run up, get a crossing again, and then Felix, no one was marking him neither. So it's just basic football, and it just felt like we truly wasn't switched on. And then by the time that goal went in, they came into a counter-attacking team. I'm sure they probably don't mind that Atletico Madrid, but possession isn't always about anything when you don't do nothing with that possession, and especially in that first half, that possession stat was absolutely pointless. There was just nothing there whatsoever. But in terms of Maguire, I definitely do agree with you. He is a liability, and I would prefer to play Lindelof. But Lindelof as a right back, I was a little bit concerned. But how did you think Lindelof done as a right back, Kussman?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see it again, to be quite honest with you, ever. Unless there's nobody else available to play right back, of course. I mean, Wan-Bissaka's there, Delo's there. I don't care which one you pick. Just pick one of them over Lindelof. And I felt a bit bad for Lindelof because he did have to get hooked off, but at the same time, he was actually probably our only good player like on the night. I can't think of anyone else that actually put in a decent performance. I thought Lindelof was steady. He did his job. Made a couple of very good defensive blocks, one of which was in the first 5 minutes of the game where he got across to block a shot. Steady performance, but like he's not a right back, is he? At the end of the day, Ralph got that wrong. I'm a bit disappointed that he took so long to rectify it. Because as I think Gwolf mentioned earlier, when the subs came on, we actually looked, we looked more stable. We looked like we were somewhat in the game. Of course, Matic was a huge contributor to that. But even with Wan-Bissaka on the pitch, it was natural to him, and he was doing all right going forward. To be fair to him, I thought he did okay when he came on.
Yeah, I actually think Lindelof played very well in terms of him going forward, because he's so good in terms of them long passes. We've seen that a lot in the Premier League. I know the Premier League and Champions League's different, but when you have got a pacey winger or a pacey forward who's able to counter attack, like how Lindelof can cross like that can get us goals. It doesn't matter who we play against, but that can really get us goals. And I think the qualities what Lindelof has, we don't have in many other centre backs. So we need that kind of Lindelof on the pitch. But we'll have a talk about the substitutes, because we did touch on that. Because I really did feel like the substitutes played very, very well. Alanga, Tellez, 100% for me, and I even think Wan-Bissaka as well played very well. For you though, do you think Gwolf, do you think these subs should start against Watford, or do you think maybe Ralph should go with the same kind of way he played against Madrid?
No, I think the subs will hopefully will start. I think the only person who probably wouldn't is Matic. Maybe Rangnick might bring him on in the second half just to shore up the game if we're winning. But yeah, I think Tellez deserves a start, and so does Wan-Bissaka. But you know that he's going to pick Luke Shaw, the porcupine, at the moment, because he seems to like him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does seem to like Luke Shaw. But I think Tellez, for me, if I was obviously Ralph, I would be using Tellez's qualities, because I actually trust him the most with his free kicks, his corners. I trust him over Bruno Fernandes. I trust him over Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he is the best player to have on. But for you, Usman, what would you do with these substitutes who came on? Would you start them all, or would you even Matic, because I actually think even when Matic played, he done some very good long through balls for me.
Yeah. I think for me personally, I'll start with Matic because obviously you just mentioned him. I wouldn't start Matic against Watford. I'd actually start him against Atletico Madrid in the return legs. I thought quite clearly when he came on, he showed his levels. I mean, he is a natural DM, isn't he? But it was just his sort of experience in the middle of the park, which we were missing a lot. I felt like Pogba, Bruno, and Fred, they didn't steady the ship at any point during that game. I was hoping for one of them to take somewhat of an accountability and actually just calm the game down, because it was quite evident that the game was running away from us for large periods of that game. So in terms of Matic, I wouldn't play him tomorrow because I think we don't need him against Watford, or St. Peter's last game. I think I'd actually keep him for the Atletico Madrid game. In terms of other players, Wan-Bissaka, I'd actually start Delo. I'm a bit surprised that Delo didn't come on because I felt we needed more of an attacking threat. It didn't seem like both Luke Shaw and Lindelof were overlapping, and we was really missing out on that extra width within the Atletico Madrid game. Of course, that changed when the substitutions happened. So yeah, for me personally, I would actually probably go Delo over Wan-Bissaka. And I think Tellers probably does deserve a start, to be fair to him. Luke Shaw, again, someone I'm a massive fan of, but at the same
I think he might. I think he's crashed. He's still there, Russman? I think he's crashed. But yeah, I could definitely see where Russman was coming from.
Sorry, I don't know what's happened to my new phone. Yeah, so as I was saying, yeah, Luke Shaw hasn't really covered himself in any glory at the moment. So by all means, I'd swap him out for Tellers. Just put a rocket up his.
Here is actually a good question. What was in the chat here? And I'll go with you, Gwolf, about this first. Do you think Matic should play against Manchester City?
Yeah, tell you the truth, if it will show up that, like, you know, he can stay behind players, the DM, and then just literally just clear things up for like, as long as we got Pogba or Bruno in that. Like, I want to see a 4-3-3. I want us to go forward with the 4-3-3 rather than this 4-2 pragmatic 4-2-3-1 formation, because of it doesn't seem to be working for us. Every time that we play that formation, we just look out of control. Whereas with the 4-3-3 or with a 4-4-2, we look sure of ourselves going forward and look to be in the game, rather than with the 4-2-3-1. It's just dire. I think. I don't think we play very well with that formation all the times that I've seen it. So yeah, I would start Matic in that 4-3-3, so then we can have Bruno and Pogba going forward, and then having Matic in that CDM role.
I definitely see where you mean, because I think Matic is brilliant as a CDM, but he is getting on that little bit. I do wish we did get Matic in his prime. A part of me always does think that, but I think that when he did start against Leicester alongside Paul Pogba, which everyone says Pogba needs to play alongside a CDM, and we lost 4-2. He played alongside Fred against Southampton at the start of the season. We drew 1-1. So I do look at things like that, and I think, is the Premier League getting a bit more progressive to the point where it's getting faster, and we need that more of a CDM who's got that more pace in his legs? And Manchester City, you know how they can pass a ball. They're very, very quick. So I do worry if we do play Matic against City, that maybe City could exploit that in a kind of way. But here was a question, Usman, about Matic. Do you think he should start against Manchester City?
Sorry, my audio's shocking. I'm going to be too... I can't hear anyone. Okay. I'll be right back.
Right, no problem. Yes, so... yeah, that's what I would personally do anyway in terms of Matic. But let's go on with this Watford game, because Watford, they've only picked up 4 points in 13 games. that's not very good at all. But they've had obviously a change of management. They've had Ranieri coming in. They've had 3 different managers since August. But they've got Roy Hodgson now. I don't think for me Roy Hodgson truly does suit Watford because he's more defensive. Watford really doesn't have that many defensive players. The more striker, more winger kind of players as well. But for you, in terms of this Watford game, when we last played against them, they won 4-1, which was pretty awful. But what do you think Manchester United need to do better tomorrow to try and make sure we get that more possession to break them down? What do you think that Ralph should do coming into this game?
See, I think in this game tomorrow that not tomorrow on is it Saturday? Isn't it?
It's tomorrow, Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, it is tomorrow. Yeah.
Losing the day there, Gwolf.
Yeah, I'm forgetting my days. Yeah, because I'm back at work tomorrow. Right, but anyway, yeah, I can see us literally just going at them because that's what we didn't do again in the last game. We didn't really. I think we was in a transitional period then as well, weren't it?
Yeah, it was the last game actually under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that one.
There you go. So, and that's when Maguire got sent off.
Yeah, he got sent off. He threw the captain's armband.
Yeah. So like I think now at Old Trafford we're beaten. I think we're beaten more easily because we're more composed. So yeah, I think now from then it would be totally different, and we will attack them a lot more. We will pass around them because they've been piss poor anyway. Like going through 3 managers.
Yeah, 3 managers just this year. You just couldn't believe it.
Exactly. So you had Ranieri, who won the Premier League, a Premier League winner as their manager, and literally can't do anything with them. So what's Roy Hodgson going to do with them? Nothing. I can just see an easy win for us.
Yeah, there's already people who's predicting the scores already. Robert's gone for a 4-0 for Man United and Niall's gone for a 3-0 for Man United. So quite high scoring games. But for you, Usman, what would you do if you were Ralph? What would you do in this game to try and get these 3 points?
I think first and foremost, obviously based off what we've just seen in the Atletico Madrid game, the intensity needs to be, massively cranked up. I thought it was absolutely shambolic in the manner in which we moved the ball. I want to see from Ralph in particular, of course, it's going to set us up in an attacking manner, but I want to see more movement off the ball in terms of the players. I just feel like everyone was extremely static, very negative. Of course, the goal actually came from one-touch football, which was the only bit of quality we actually showed in the game. I'm sure everyone's seen the slow-mo version of the goal numerous times because I watched it at least 10 times. It's a work of art. It's poetic. It's beautiful. But how often do we see that at Manchester United? And for me, I would say to a lot of the players, Pogba, Bruno included, keep it simple and keep the ball ticking. Just 1-2 touch football. Let's not overcomplicate things. Let's just move the ball as quick as we possibly can. Like I just mentioned, with the goal that we scored, that was the only passage of play that we showed any bit of quality. And it was also the only passage of play where you can count everyone's touches on one hand, because every other time, 3, 4, 5 touches, and it's too slow and methodical. So I think that's the major thing that I would improve going into this game. I think in terms of quality,
I think it's gone again. These things happen though, doesn't it, in terms of the Wi-Fi connections? But here's a BD here in the chat has gone for a 4-2-2 formation. I know we haven't used that 4-2-2 formation for quite a while. I believe the last game it was the Wolves game, I believe, and that was where we lost. And Ralph is actually doing quite well in terms of his form. He's only actually lost 1 game. Under as a Manchester United manager, 1 defeat in 14 games, and that only 1 defeat has been since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. So, for you, would you go for that 4-2-2 formation?
No, I would definitely stick with. I would. I think Rangnick will go back and revert back to a 4-3-3.
We haven't
'Cause
really
of
seen
rec-
that much of the 4-3-3 though, have we? Because we keep seeing that 4-2-3-1.
We have, but it's like well, I'm trying to think when the last time we saw when we saw the 4-3-3, and I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and we won. And then he reverted back to a 4-2-3-1 against Atletico Madrid. So it seems like that against the tougher teams he'll go with the 4-2-3-1, and then against the easy teams he'll go with the 4-3-3. So Watford, they're there for the taking. So yeah, definitely go with 4-3-3 for me.
Yep, Osman's back. Hello again, Osman.
Oh my god. Basically, I got a new phone today, and let's just say the connection's not doing me any justice almost. I do apologize, obviously, to everyone watching.
Don't worry about it at all. We was touching on as well a bit of the formation because someone in the chat said they would go with that 4-2-2 formation. We've been recently doing more of that 4-2-3-1. Gwolf has touched on wanting to do the 4-3-3 because we've seen it a lot more against the easier opponents. But would you go with that 4-2-2 or just stick to what we're doing?
No, I will definitely stick with the 4-3-3. I think in terms of the performance in the last couple of weeks, bar obviously after that Madrid game, I think there has been somewhat of an improvement. Nothing too drastic to really cheer about. But there definitely has been somewhat of an improvement in terms of the way we control the games, especially against the Leicester team, as you just mentioned. We don't need to be paying Watford any respect. We're at Old Trafford. 4-3-3, Bruno, Pogba in the eights, and obviously Fred in the sort of number 6, so to speak. And like I said, just get the ball ticking and try to get on the front from minute one. I think that's the most important thing. For me personally, formation aside, we could play a 4-2-2, 4-2-3-1. It's about the application and how we set ourselves up. And at the moment, we have been quite good in the first half. But the last maybe 1 or 2 games, we have somewhat dropped off. So I think it's about reasserting our dominance on these lesser teams, and just regardless of the formation, just being the faces from minute one.
And I'll stay with you, Osman, as well regarding the game because you was touching on about what we should do coming into this Watford game, because actually Watford have only won 1 game against Manchester United, which was that 4-1, and that was the last time they actually won a game. They've only won 2 this season, 1 being Everton, 1 being us, and Ralph's record is pretty well at the moment. He's only had 1 defeat in 14 games, 8 wins, 5 draws. What do you think he should do coming into this game?
Yeah, I mean, the issue obviously is the draws, isn't it, really? We know what Watford are going to do. They're going to sit back. They've got pace to hit us on the break, with Dennis in particular, who's already caused us problems this season, and he just started to find his goal scoring touch. Granted, only the 1 goal, but nevertheless, he's coming into this with a bit of confidence on a personal level. For me personally, it just comes back obviously to what I've said already in terms of our approach. Our biggest issue has been our lack of clinicalness in front of goal as well. Obviously, Ronaldo at the moment, he's not really firing at all cylinders as we expected of him. Even against Leeds, there was a goal fest and Ronaldo didn't even look like a scorer. He missed a couple of sitters that game. I think for me personally, the quality needs to be better from wide areas. Rashford and Luke Shaw in particular, last couple of games, crossing has been absolutely shambolic from wide areas. And I think the overall quality needs to improve in the final thirds. Decision making, obviously the quality of pass, firstly, the weight of the pass, etc. I think these are the things that we need to focus on. But yeah, in terms of what Watford can cause us, really, it's mainly going to be on the counter attack. Dennis, of course, is the one to watch out for.
Yeah, everyone in the chat is saying as well they want to go for that 4-3-3 formation just because it is probably the best formation, and I just feel like with that 4-3-3 we need a proper solid CDM to go in the middle, if that is going to be alongside Bruno, Pogba, or if Donny ever come back to Man United, because even he would suit that 4-3-3 formation a lot better as well compared to that 4-2-3-1. But we need a proper CDM there to go into the middle, because I feel like we've got Scott and we've got Fred, who play as a CDM, but they're not a CDM. They're a box-to-box midfielder. Matic is our only CDM. People say that Matic can't play that full 90 either. But for you, G Wolf, the only option really who we've got if we played that 4-3-3 would be Fred, because Scott McTominay is actually out with an illness. So would you risk using that 4-3-3 to put Fred in the middle?
Yeah, because he's like an Energizer bunny, isn't he? He'll run around and like, especially against teams like Watford, he I think he'll do well. It's like, you know, who would have thought that he scored 3 goals, I think it is.
Yes, he has scored. I believe he has scored 3 goals, and he's got a couple of assists so far this season as well.
So literally, he's like, as much as we criticise him, he is doing okay. So against the lesser teams, he could be the one that could help us get that win tomorrow. Especially if he keeps on scoring like those worldies that we don't normally get from him. You know what I mean? So.
Here's a question here from Kyle, which I'll go for you with, Usman. Do you see Watford's Dennis focusing on one-on-ones with Maguire?
I mean,
possibly.
I mean, anyone with a bit of pace, you just isolate Maguire, and you know you got every chance to obviously get past him. Just coming back to the Felix goal that we mentioned earlier, the issue was well, Maguire's reactions, concentration were two of the issues, but the third issue was his acceleration. I mean, you look at Felix. Okay, granted, he's got a march on him in terms of a couple of yards, as in he's reacted quicker, but Maguire's acceleration from start to trying to even get close to Felix is shocking. So anyone with a bit of pace, a ball in behind, I'm assuming obviously we're at home, so I'm assuming we're playing a high line. Any ball in behind potentially could hurt Maguire, but again, we've been saying that all season, so it's nothing new. Hopefully, De Gea for once in his life will actually be a sweeper keeper, but obviously can't hold our breath on that, can we really?
No, definitely not. But Niall, of course, has got a question. My answer is going to be 100% yes, because even Robert has said in the chat, Rashford needs to be benched. He's been poor, and that Alanga should start. But for you, G Wolf, would you agree there with Robert's comment and that Alanga should start, Rashford should get dropped? Because when we have seen Rashford come on as a substitute, sometimes he looks quite electric, and he actually has contributed towards last-minute winners. We've seen it against West Ham. We've seen him get a goal there against Leicester as well.
Yep. Yeah, but I would definitely start Alanga. I think he deserves a start tomorrow. I think what he's proved against Atletico Madrid, he's definitely deserved to start. And yeah, and also with Rashford, he's been piss poor all this season, literally. And it's not just this season that he's been piss poor; it's also the end of last season as well. His form dipped, and then since then he hasn't really. Since the World Cup, he had he just hasn't been the same. It's like, is he having is the effect from the World Cup, missing that penalty in the final, still has got that sort of effect on him? Who knows? But yeah, I think he definitely deserves to be benched, and maybe he needs to go on a holiday early, because of literally he doesn't deserve to start at any point at this moment in time.
What would you do, Usman, regarding Alanga and Rashford? Which one would you start? Which one would you bench?
I mean, Rashford's been shocking, hasn't he, really? I mean, I've been defending him on Twitter all day. But yeah, Rashford just needs some time out of the team. I mean, I'm extremely disappointed, really, but with the fact that he just keeps making the same mistakes. I mean, the amount of silly mistakes he was making against Atletico, running into crowded bodies, shooting when he should pass, passing when he should shoot. I mean, he just does it every single game. And it's just becoming extremely frustrating. Alanga, on the other hand, obviously, as Ralph said in the post-match, more players need to, basically take his sort of what's the word? His sort of mindset going into the game, his energy, etc. The way he's applied himself to being in the first team is a breath of fresh air. Of course, you know he's a 19-year-old lad. You can tell he's got the hunger to be in the first team, which is similar to what Rashford had when he initially came into the team.
Yeah.
I potentially think Rashford's suffering with the weight of the shirt at the moment. You know, there's a lot of expectation on Rashford's shoulders, and he's somewhat sinking with their expectations currently. His confidence seems to be rock bottom. So by all means, take him at the firing line and.
Oh, Frankie's gone again. But we'll go with this question as well for you, Gwolf. Would you start both Jones and Varane coming into this game?
Tell you the truth, I would prefer anyone than Harry Maguire starting in that team. I would take either Varane. I would even take a young boy, Mengi. I'll put him instead of bloody Maguire. But, you know, Maguire's the captain. And you know that is going to be a Varane and Maguire partnership. And also, what Osman said, saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to defend Maguire. I don't defend him no more. Literally, I'm feeding him to the sharks. He made me eat my salmon, and I don't like salmon. So Maguire can go and take a flying jump somewhere. Literally, get out the club, Maguire. We don't want you.
Well, very strong words from Gwolf regarding Maguire, but for me, I would probably go for Varane and Lindelof if I was got to pick, just because I feel like that is my strongest centre back partnership. And I know Usman touched on a little bit earlier, he would also go there with Varane and Lindelof partnership too. We'll go on a little bit regarding Ralph Rangnick in itself, because like I say, he's only lost one game. Do you think he's actually, for you, Gwolf, do you think he's actually starting to get his groove there at Manchester United? Or do you feel like there could be some games when we do have them harder oppositions of the Liverpools and the Cities, they could potentially break?
Possibly. I think Rangnick has done so far. I think Rangnick has done well with the team that he's got. But against the bigger teams, like, you know, against Liverpool and Man City, he hasn't been the manager that we've all thought that he would be. And he's more, and like, you know, Rangnick is more like a director of football. So, like, the players, are they playing for Rangnick, or are they playing for when the new manager comes in? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just literally, it's. But overall, I think Rangnick has done really well with the squad that he's got.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, of course, because it is quite an unbalanced team, isn't it? They've got a David Moyes signing there, Louis van Gaal signings in there. They've got Jose Mourinho signings in there, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's signings in there. So looking at that squad in particular, knowing they've all got different kind of style of plays each manager, it is quite an unbalanced team. But what about you, Usman, regarding Rangnick? Do you think he's finally finding his groove there at United, or do you feel like maybe he could break against these harder opponents?
Yeah, obviously in terms of the squad, like you guys have just obviously gone through in terms of, you know, he's inherited literally 5 managers. Players, Phil Jones is still there as well. Obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson signing, which is actually crazy. But in terms of what Rangnick's done coming in, I think he steadied the ship somewhat. I don't think he's overachieved in the sense that, you know, we've played great football, or, you know, we've somewhat gone above what I'd expect. We did have a very favourable run of fixtures as well. We've got to bear that in mind as well. I mean, with the games that we had, I'd expect us to actually have at least 6 more points than we have. I thought we've bottled a couple of games. I mean, I don't want to go through them because obviously I don't want to relive the frustration that is Manchester United this season. So we'll not do that. But I'm sure everyone can name a couple with just me saying that. So yeah, I think he's done an okay job. I think with a lot of the dressing room unrest as well, I think he's dealt with that very well. And I think in the manner in which he's spoken out against.
He's gone again.
He's gone again.
Doesn't matter though, because these things do, of course, happen regarding that. But for me, with Ralph, it is going to be interesting to see on how Ralph does manage it. There is, for me, managers who can't really adapt to certain types of football, can't adapt. Because look at Ralph, he started managing back in the 80s, actually, and he's still managing now. And he has been one of them managers, like you could say, like Sir Alex Ferguson in a kind of way, where he can actually adapt throughout each decade in terms of the football. He's managed to do that because as well, he's had that success at Leipzig. Who would have thought he would have brought Leipzig all the way to the Champions League? That's just absolutely incredible.
That's it.
And he is definitely that type of manager who can do that. So I think in that kind of respect that I think he is getting that bit of groove about, but he really hasn't had that much of a test. Just as Osman's touched on, there should have been points where we should have got them. But I always think that with Manchester United, when we play poor, but it's always dependent on the opposition, because look at Manchester City in the past couple of years. We've picked up more points than Manchester City as in these Manchester derbies, and it always seems like at times we can put that little bit of a pedal on there to say, right, we're getting these 3 points, and they look so confident. But then there's other times like Watford where we lose them games, and Burnley where we draw them. So it's just all dependent for me of how the team comes out, because you can train these players, say, right, you pass like this, shoot like this, tackle like this. And if they're doing that in training, but they're not doing that on the pitch, Ralph can't sub all 11 of these players off. He's just got to put up with it and sub the worst 3 off. So apart from, of course, the Champions League where he can sub 5 off. But for me, I just think at this moment in time, he's doing a decent job. But I just hope he will get points when it comes to March. I'm actually loving Rangnick's.
I was going to say, I'm actually loving Rangnick's man management with the players, especially like, when the players come off and they're frustrated and angry with themselves because they play poor. They didn't want to be subbed off, and then Rangnick has sort of like gone over to him, especially with Ronaldo's situation when he got really pissed of being subbed, and then Rangnick went over to him, put his arm around him, and other managers would have left the players to stew, whereas he didn't. He went straight over to Ronaldo, comforted him, and told him the reason why he's being taken off. So that sort of man management on the pitch is what you want to see from a manager when the team needs an uplift. When they're playing not so good, you can actually see, like, come on boys, you can do this. And and previous managers hasn't done that. Ollie didn't do that. It was only occasions that he did that, but
yeah. And for me as well, in terms of Ralph, just as Naz has touched on here, I like his press conferences. I just feel like him, especially after the game, he really touches on. Look at that first interview after the game ended, where we won 1-0 against Crystal Palace. I was absolutely amazed of how he was breaking down the game, breaking down the style of play. And you don't see that from many managers anyway, never mind the previous managers we have. We don't see it off many managers at all. So he has that character in there. He has that bit of fire in there as well, which I absolutely love, if you agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, he's an honest, he'll be honest to you and also direct to the point. And also he's like, if a player isn't playing well, he would say, well, he had a poor game, but then he picked it up in the second half, he picked it up. Or this person, literally the reason, he would say if this person needed to be subbed off, he would be truthful. So that's quite refreshing from a manager to see.
Yes, definitely. Before we do our prediction time, I'm going to do a little secret prediction which nobody was expecting. So in the chat, get involved in this. It's regarding the top 4. What is your thoughts in this top 4? Because for me, it is such a dogfight. Arsenal's looking decent. Spurs looks decent against City. Then they bottle it against Burnley. we've got a tough run in ourselves when it does come to March. So, realistically, do you see us actually getting this top 4, knowing all the other teams around us? Because even West Ham have got a good fight for top 4.
Well, I think if you have a look at the table, I think there's only, isn't it? I think it's 4. I think the last time I saw it was 4 points. Chelsea are third, and there's 4 points between us and Chelsea.
Yes, I'm looking at the table as we speak, actually, and we've got 46 points. Chelsea has got 50 points. They've only won 1. I mean, they've won 2 in their last 5 games, whereas we've won 3 in our last 5. So we're picking up them more points, whereas Chelsea's obviously got better goal difference than us.
Yeah.
Even Arsenal, who have only 1 point behind us, but they've still got 2 games in hand. They've got a better goal difference than us, only by 1. But they still got a better goal difference.
So, do you know what? I'm actually going to go for it. I think Man United can get third.
Third?
Yeah, I really do.
I like
We're 4
that.
points away. All we have to do, if we beat Chelsea in the return, obviously we've got to play them again. Right? So if we beat them and we keep on carrying on the way that we are, we're going to be 1 point behind them. Now, all they have to do is slip up once, and then that's it. Providing we keep on winning all our games. Obviously, there's going to be a couple of games from Arsenal and stuff like that. But, Arsenal, they can play crap as well. So they can drop points. As I say, it's all to play for.
Yes, it is all to play for.
I'm not going to say, I wouldn't count us out of going up into third place and finishing third at the end of the season. I really don't.
It happened. It happened though a couple of seasons back when we got Bruno Fernandes. We never thought that would happen neither, but a couple of people have predicted it.
Who would have thought that we would have finished second with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Who would have thought that we would have got second with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with the team that we had? I say anything can happen. We could. Me personally, I'm a positive person, and I believe. I'm going to call for it. Yeah, we're going to finish third.
Avengers gone for fourth. Robert has gone Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, then Man United. Niall has said, I said this on a podcast last Sunday. I said it will go down to the last game of the season, which actually happened a couple of seasons back because it went all the way to the last game of the season between third and fourth for Manchester United versus Chelsea. We managed to get through literally off goal difference, and I think Chelsea got into top 4 because Spurs lost, Leicester lost as well. So that was quite interesting, that dogfight too. Primot has said, if we can somehow find our shooting boots, we can get fourth. I completely agree with that as well. I hope that we do get into that fourth place. I think we can get to fourth. Naz is agreeing with Gwolf that to finish third too. So we have got a couple of games at the end of the season. We've got Crystal Palace for one. I think we got Chelsea as well. So there's a couple of games what we do have, and we just need to be careful with these games in hand with some of these teams now, because Chelsea are going to have a game in hand this weekend. Liverpool will, because it's Liverpool will, because they're playing in the Carabao Cup final. So it is going to be all to play for.
The top 2 is, we're not going to be getting into the top 2, right? But yeah, I can definitely, I can definitely see us securing fourth, but also I can finish at the end of the season finishing third, as long as we play, as long as we get the wins, and also especially that Chelsea. I think that if we don't beat Chelsea, then there's no way that we're getting third. But
so you think we've got to win Chelsea then to get?
Yeah, we definitely got to beat. Definitely got to beat Chelsea to get that third place. If we don't beat them, then yeah, definitely fourth.
Yeah, Yeah, I was looking at as well 0 Degrees here, who makes an interesting point. I'll explain my point. Every time we're confident about a game, we lose. Let's stay unconfident. Would you agree, Gwolf, on that?
You got to be some sort of positive, have some sort of positivity about thingy, or otherwise, if you go into every single game feeling uh, demoralized,
Yeah.
if that's, you know what I'm trying to say,
Yes.
and unconfident, then literally when we do lose, you're just going to be more and more down. Whereas if you get a bit of positivity in you and about the team and about the about the results that you see, then you'll literally, me personally, if I'm positive about a game and that we're going to win, if we lose, fine, okay, whatever. But if we win, you're more ecstatic when you're positive about a win. No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Like
Completely agree with that.
before a game, I'm always trying to be optimistic, be positive about it. Like, we're going to win 3-4-0 against a lower team. When you're playing against like Atletico Madrid, you see what their performances have been like over the last 5 games and what your performances have been like over the past game. If your performances has been a lot better than Atletico Madrid's, you're going to feel confident going into that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that I see it.
I definitely see your point. Let's go into this game. From the press conference in itself, in terms of Ralph, he has said that 2 players are going to be out. Edinson Cavani is out due to a groin injury. Scott McTominay is also out due to an illness. So let's do our prediction time. I will go with our predicted lineup. I'll go with my predicted lineup first.
Yep.
I'll stay with the 4-2-3-1 formation. So I think it's going to be, of course, De Gea in goal. No questions asked why he shouldn't be. I think Dalot will actually be back because I think we're going to go all attacking in this game, but I think we're going to have a bit of rotation compared to the Atletico. I think Varane keeps his place alongside Harry Maguire, especially what happened in terms of the Harry Maguire incident. Ralph actually got asked in the press conference. He just seems to be quite happy in terms of Harry Maguire. He seems that he doesn't want to drop him, so I think he will keep Harry Maguire in place. I think Telles will come through. I would love to see Telles come through, but we need to go out all attacking. So if that is the case, we need Alex Telles. I think Paul Pogba will be back through, and due to Scott McTominay's illness, Fred will be starting. And I actually am going to go with Alanga there on the left, Bruno in the middle. I think Sancho actually might come off the bench. So I think Jesse Lingard might make his start. Just so that it gives a little bit of rest there for Jadon Sancho, because we need Jadon Sancho to be fit for City, Liverpool, Madrid, and also Spurs. We need him for all them games. So he's going to have a very difficult month, in fact. So I think that this game is going to be the last game we're going to be able to drop him until April. So I think Lingard will come through. And then up front, of course, will be Ronaldo because we've got no other striker. But what are you going for with your formation, G-Bull, and formation and team?
I'm going to go with a 4-3-3 just because of against the lesser teams, he seems to he always seems to go with a 4-3-3 against the lesser teams, me personally. So yeah, David De Gea in goal. And then Dalot. Yeah, Dalot, Varane, Lindelof, and Telles. I'm not going to go for Maguire. I don't think it. I think I think he might drop Maguire ready for. Isn't it Atletico the next game after this?
We have got
For the
Spurs
return.
the next game. Then we have no, we don't. We have City next game actually.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. So he might drop it. So you might see a few of them dropped. Then for the next game, so you might see a Lindelof Maguire.
Yeah. Lindelof and Maguire, that could be a good shout. What about Phil Jones? Do you think he might make a start?
as much as I would love to input instead of Maguire. Literally, I want Maguire out. Literally, he's done in my book. But yeah, it could be, yeah, maybe a Lindelof. But have they really played together? I think the last. Did they play in the Middlesbrough? No. Yeah, was it
No, they did.
Middlesbrough?
No, because it was Lindelof didn't play for Middlesbrough because he was out. So if he did play, he would have been back in 2020, maybe against Tranmere Rovers.
Blimmin' hell.
What other squad are you gonna go for?
Yeah, Teller's on the left instead of Porcupine Luke Shaw. Then the three would be Pogba, Bruno, and Fred. And then the front three. It wouldn't surprise me if Rangnick actually picks Rashford, Ronaldo, and Lingard.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. But to tell you the truth, Elanga's got to start for me. So that will be. This is my formation. I'll go Elanga, Ronaldo, and Sancho.
Yes, I would personally do that formation, but I just feel like, especially now, there is gonna need a little bit of rotation. So that's why I would go with a Jesse Lingard. But Kate Cadet, super chat is here. Thank you so much, Kate Cadet, for that £2. It's Kate Cadet's birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Kate Cadet. I hope you have a lovely day and wish you all the best.
Yeah, happy birthday, Kate Cadet. Hope you have a great day, bro. Get your birthday emoji. Get your birthday emojis with the thingies, poppers, and
the party
cakes.
poppers, the cakes. Let's see it all. But everyone in the chat also get involved for the prediction for the scores. We'll go with you first, G Wolf. What score are you going for?
I'm going to go for a 3-1. 3-1 win.
I'd like a 3-1 win.
We always seem to concede anyway, so there's no point. As much as you would love a 3-0 or 4-0, it ain't going to happen because we got Harry Maguire in the back, and literally we always concede. So can't seem to keep clean sheets for very long, can we? It's like, I think it wasn't it the first time twice we did back-to-back clean sheets?
Yes.
At one
we actually
point.
are conceding less, though, aren't we? Under Ralph, Maguire or no Maguire.
It's only been by one goal though, but you know,
one goal better than the 4 what we was.
Yeah, true. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. As much as I love Ollie as a player, but as a manager, he's just like, yes, I was defending him before anybody says that I weren't. No, I was defending him, but I would defend all our managers. Because at the end of the day, you got to support the manager.
Of course,
but when he's gone,
obviously, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. You got to back your manager. If you can't back your manager, then there's if we're not backing the manager, what chances has the players got of backing the manager?
Yeah, of course. A couple of people have got their predictions in the chat. Mike's gone for a 4-1 to United. Avenger's gone for 5-0 to United. Niall's gone for 3-0 for United. Naz has gone for 4-1 for United as well. Kyle's gone for a 1-1, which was a bit devastating. I would have liked to see a little bit more. Naz has gone for a 4-1. Yeah, so there is quite a good predictions there. For me, I'm thinking that it will be a 3-1 as well for Manchester United. I'd love to see Ronaldo back in the score sheet. He's only scored 1 in 5. And I think this could be Jesse Lingard's time if he gets that starting 11 lineup as well. So that's what I'll go for, 3-1 for Manchester United. I think we are going to concede. We haven't had a clean sheet since West Ham. So that's been quite a few weeks since without a clean sheet. So let's hope that we do get a clean sheet as well as a win. Kyle's being more positive. Come on, Kyle. You've gone for a 2-1 for United.
Nice
Stuff
one.
I love to see. Love the positivity from you. But I'll end it here. Thank you so much, Gwolf, for coming on. Been an absolute pleasure.
Brilliant.
Where can we find
Cheers.
you?
You can find me at Gwolf United Gaming. Do a load of Rocket League and GTA streams and all of that jazz. So if you want to have a laugh with me and Ruddy Can't Game as well, I play with them. Just come over to my channel and yeah, let's have fun.
Yeah, I can see people asking if Piggy is going to go live later. He should be going live. Not too sure what he'll be doing, but I'm sure he will be live a little bit later on. You'll be able to see him if he's doing a preview or if he will of his own, or if he is, of course, going to be doing his FIFA. But we should be able to see Piggy coming on later on. You can find me on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, it is Devils United. But I do content for Manchester United, both for the men and the women's football. Usman did have some Wi-Fi technical difficulties, but it was good to see as well Usman back into the panel. And Gunsha, thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you. 4-0 is my prediction. Goals for Pogba, Ronaldo, and Alanga. Great job, everyone on the panel. Thank you, including Invisible Man Usman. Thank you for the super chat there, Gunshi. Means so much. And yep, our channels are in the description below. So if you want to check both the channels out, you can do that. But we'll see you all soon. It's a goodbye for now.
Laters.